Hey gang, Ronan here. As you can see in this game, I am playing the Tier 8 Imperial Japanese Navy aircraft carrier Shōkaku. I am facing off with the also Japanese carrier Kaga. It's not like the old RTS days of CV play where we're going to have strafing battles with our fighters and such. Although I really miss those days, I have finally decided it's time for me to learn a little bit more about how to play the CVs in the current game. You can see that I am bottom tier in this game. In a Tier 8 CV, that's going to happen an unfortunate number of times, as you might expect. It's not that you're never top tier, and when you are, you can be pretty effective. If you're looking at the aircraft, yeah, this is a skin I picked up in an event with monsters some point years back. I also have another one that's similar for North Carolina. I know there were others available. All I'm doing right now is spotting, and I'm using rocket planes because they are generally faster than the other types of aircraft. And I'm going to check this side of the island, and then I'll cross and check the other side of the island. Now, as I've mentioned with other CV replays, when you're coming over an island like this, it forces your reticule kind of way out there, so you're not often able to make close strikes with your aircraft. I'm trying to avoid the Napoli's anti-aircraft guns, which is why I turned north. I just want to continue providing some spotting for my team. And now I'm going to check this side of the map for my team. Now, very often, destroyers will push up right to where that Yugamo's at. And you can see the Holland. I need to get away from Holland. Holland's AA is definitely more than I want to deal with, especially in a Tier 8 aircraft carrier. So I just decide, okay, I've done what spotting I can on that side. It's time to make an attack run, and I'm deciding what I want to try to go after. Our Salmon is doing a really good job. He's in the Alpha Cap. You can see him over there. So often you'll see subs, they just focus entirely on trying to make a torpedo strike. This Salmon player, kudos to you. You, like me, are bottom tier, but you're trying to do what you can. But he's been reset. And I imagine he's having to submerge, but he made the effort. So kudos to him. Meanwhile, the red team's Buffalo taken a beating. And Stalingrad says, okay, that's probably enough of you. So we are now up by one ship. I do not want to get into the Holland's AA bubble. And that is why I am swinging so wide out here. And I'll check to see whether there's anything out here that's threatening Stalingrad. And there is. There's Yugumo. So now Stalingrad knows I need to be aware of potential torpedo threat. And I'll try to chase the Yugumo away. Drop a fighter, just keep him visible a little bit longer. Yugumo probably has torpedo range of 12 kilometers. Stalingrad is probably measuring that in his head right now, and I do manage to actually land a torpedo on Yugumo. You see the damage was not too bad. I'm going to try and get him again. And I may be able to make a third strike. I'm really hoping to see more guns coming that way. And he's angling up. It's going to be really tough for me to land one on him here, but I'll do what I can. And now I'm going to lose sight of him. Meanwhile, we lost our Stalingrad and our Schroeder, and both teams are now down 2 ships. Back to the rocket planes. Holland and Napoli Yeah, the Napoli division, that's ugly. That and one Holland, they are doing everything they can at the Charlie Cap, but we have managed to secure Alpha and Bravo. One of the red team's Hollands is now scoring off with Lucian at the Bravo Cap, and I give the edge to Lucian here if he can avoid the torpedo strike from the Holland. Prusen, he uses an airstrike, takes out our salmon. That leaves our Marceau over there alone. And he's got Holland on one side, Stalingrad on the other, Prusen that could come around the island any second, and a Montana. Lucian finishes off the Holland, kind of as expected, but still, great job, Lucian player. Got the Yugamo out here, once again detected, and I really need to finish him off. He is a legitimate threat out here alone. Just have to really hit him one time, and I do, and that's it for Yugamo. So it's going to be a little bit easier for our guys on this flank now. Those hard-hitting Japanese torpedoes, no longer a threat. And Ragnar is pushing out and finishes off one of the Napolis as Stalingrad finishes off our Marceau. Both teams now down 5 ships. We have a points lead on the back of early securing of the caps. It's been a real battle here at the Charlie Cap as Marceau floods out the Stalingrad. And the bad guys secure the Alpha Cap while we're working to push everybody red out of the Charlie Cap. Our Yamato taking a barrage from Napoli. These look like secondaries, and this is after the 12.10 update, and the secondaries on the Napoli now are just fears. Our Des Moines, Ed Harrington at the helm, finishes off the Red Holland. I invited Ed to join us in ICOP, but he had already committed to another clan. But a super nice guy. If you're ever in game with him, please say hello. Just trying to chase the Napoli away. Not too concerned. I mean, if I can land a torpedo, great. But I just want to get him out of where he was and provide my team some spotting. So I'll drop the fighter there. Maybe try and get one more torpedo strike. I didn't want to move any more to the west, because if I did, I was going to be in the Montana and Kaga's AA bubble. So I dropped that torpedo and got out of there. So we're 7.5 minutes in. I've done 16,000 damage, but I did finish off the Yugamo, and Yugamo, if you've ever had to contend with one, is a real threat. So Prusen and U-190 on the red team secured the Alpha Cap and are now squaring off against Kurfürst and Lucian. Lucian is probably focused on Kaga right now. And I need to see what I can do to slow down the Prusen. I've got to try and hit the superstructure. If I hit the deck, probably not going to do any damage. Well, there's a little bit of damage. I was hoping for maybe a fire, but didn't get one. And I will just keep it up. Now you can see where my ship is located right now. I've moved it back there because I want to get as close as I can to Prusen to make my travel time, the traverse time of the aircraft, as short as possible. And I'm already thinking, if the Prusen pushes straight ahead across the Bravo Cap and toward the Charlie Cap to get close enough to smash the Marseille, I could push south. Try to get torpedoes on the Prusen. I'm really hoping for a flood. And maybe I can make a second strike. No flood, but I do manage to reset the cap. I'm starting to bleed aircraft really fast. Gotta get these torpedoes in the water and recall my aircraft. And I'm just sitting right here for the time being. Prusen seems focused on securing that Bravo Cap. I don't know where their U-190 is. I don't want to push around this corner because he might be right here. So So I'm going to fly through this lane. I am detected, probably by Prusen, but I guess it could be from the sub. And I want to make sure I don't put my ship in harm's way. Looks like he's starting to reverse, so I'll just change course just a bit. Again, hoping for a fire. There we go. 7,400 damage and a fire. Continuing to burn. Now I'll go back with more torpedoes. Despite my best efforts and the efforts of Marseille, Prusen has got 3/4 of the cap turned now. And I think he's probably going to get it. You can see some shots coming in from Ragnar. I don't think I'm going to get a second strike with those, so I'm just going to recall them. I am able to reset the cap a bit, but it tells me that the U-190 is probably in there with him, because I didn't see the reset do a whole lot to the timer. And while we have a decided ship advantage, the red team now has a cap advantage, and I give the edge to the Prusen against the Marseille. And Marseille is just sitting nose into the Prusen. I get back out of an AA bubble. I'm going to have to make a run at Prusen. And just outside the flak, I thought. I just got to run straight at him. I'll use my speed boost. No sign of the sub. And I lose all my aircraft there. That was painful. Okay, time for me to move. I have to count on the fact that Prusen's not alone and that the U-190, if he was with him, isn't directly in this channel that we're looking at right now. And I am telling my ship, head for the Bravo cap. They are chipping away at our lead. And Prusen is running right at the Marseille. And why our Marseille sat there, I don't know, but he did. And it's not going to end well for him. For a second there, it looked like Marseille was going to run right at the Prusen. I think maybe big picture that might have been better, because what ends up happening really, really bad. Put 2 more torpedoes into the Prusen. You can see he's almost dead. And then he blaps the Marseille. You can see that my ship is actually moving, but it's big and it's slow and it turns like a bus. And I also have to make sure I'm out of the detection range of the Prusen. And all I can really do here is try to reset and count on my destroyers to finish whatever it is they're doing down there. And I'm really hoping that they are going to be heading back towards the Bravo camp, but they are apparently trying to finish off the U-190, which I didn't see initially. And I felt like, why are these guys chasing the Montana? Both teams now with 3 ships, and the bad guys have a cap advantage, so our very small lead of roughly 25 points is being chipped away at steadily. And I have to hope I can get off these bombs before I lose all my aircraft again. He is reversing, which is going to make it a little easier for me. Okay, so I'm able to reset the cap, but, you know, how many times I'm going to be able to do that, I don't know. I've got his HP is chipped down, but then you can see he's got his heel. Lucian and Ragnar are headed north. They finished off the U-190. Good job. Seriously, guys. 3 kills for Lucian, 2 kills for Ragnar. They have played a heck of a game. And as you're going to see here in a minute, they're a little disappointed in me because, well, reasons. You'll see. Although I don't feel like I played a bad game, and I've really just been focused on trying to keep Prusen from being able to take all the caps, but I just can't get aircraft back fast enough. But I am going to be able to help in the Bravo cap, and I think they were a little bit panicked that I was going to come around the corner and keep going, but I actually have already clicked for, and you can see my comment there, and apologies to both of those players. I just didn't realize they were trying to sink the sub. I was a little too focused on what my own things I was dealing with. But them sinking the sub was critical. And my ship is already slowing down. It's going to come to a stop just inside the cap and should be out of sight of the Prusen. Now, I was expecting the Prusen to come around the south side. But instead, he's turned back to the north, probably hoping he can catch my ship. Now, Ragnar is understandably a little anxious seeing my ship in the cap, but I want to slow their points. And I think I can safely do that. I don't think that he can see me. As you can see, I've only got 2 torpedoes ready and 4 rockets. I decided to go with the rockets. And Prusen's Tier 10 AA is just brutal to contend with in a Tier 8 aircraft carrier. Now with bombs, I've kind of felt like I've been chasing. With rockets, I don't have to. I can rush in, try and do a little damage, maybe start a fire, and then just run. And I'm hoping when I get done with this run, I'll have another torpedo bomber ready to go. 3,100 damage. You can see I've already told my ship to start reversing. And I'm going to try to get torpedoes on the Prusen. Stay on this side of the island, stay out of his AA as long as I can. Now, the destroyers are hoping that they can have sight of the Prusen constantly, which I can understand. They're saying, just spot the BB, no need to damage it. But with 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go, I'm not really sure. So I am providing sight, and I'm debating about, I don't have any more fighters. I'm debating about it, and I'm thinking, well, if I can get a flood and then they get it burning, this game's over. And it's pushing toward them, so they're going to have vision anyway. So I don't really need to sit out here. You see Ed Harrington's comment there. So I'm really I'm hoping for a flood. He's under 20,000 HP. I'll follow that up with a rocket strike. 2 hits, decent damage. He's almost gone. And Lucian is able to finish him off. Because he was coming around the corner. They were going to have vision of him, regardless of what I did. I felt like I wanted to get damage to help them finish him sooner rather than later, so that his secondaries and main guns were not able to finish off one of our destroyers, both of whom are pretty low on HP, especially the Lucian. Now I'll drop a fighter here out of AA range of the Montana, and that will keep the Montana lit while I try to make a strike. And that really is the game. And that Montana AA, just monstrous. So I felt like this, honestly, felt like the first game that I really was kind of getting a hang of how to play the Shōkaku. And that I did a respectable job. And we'll take a look at the stats and stuff when I'm done, here, which is going to happen in just a few seconds. We got 32 seconds to go in the game. LTO Arc is he's in big trouble, and I'm not probably going to even get these aircraft close enough to make a strike. But yeah, that Tier 10A is just it is brutal. 12 seconds to go, and you see the comments in the chat box there. And Ed Harrington very kindly he was really good natured about the whole thing. Okay, so taking a look at the after action numbers, you can see that 120,000 damage. I feel like that's pretty respectable. 13 torpedo hits, a couple of bomb hits. I really struggled with those. One incapacitation. I did manage to sink a ship. That was the Yugamo. Couple of fires, 3 floods, defended the cap 9 times, did everything I could there. Assisted in capturing the Bravo cap, spotted 7 times, and 42 rocket hits. I really do. I feel pretty good about all that. Then we, move forward to where I was in the standings. Came in second. Before I got into playing CVs again after so many years, I know that when I saw a CV that was in the top 4, I thought, yeah, they played well. It's hard to score high in a CV. Lucian and Ed Harrington in the Des Moines, and our Yamato and Ragnar, really solid game, all of you. Kudos to every one of you. The things you did in the game definitely contributed to the win, and that also goes for some of you down here. Poor Salmon. He wasn't able to do a whole heck of a lot, but he did try to get that cap, which I really appreciate. And, the detailed report, I only put damage on 2 ships, but quite a bit on the Prusen. Kept him busy and helped finish him off. And then, we can see 56,000 in spotting damage. And my team started 4 fires from that spotting damage. So I feel really good. You can see when we look at where I did damage, I did 23,000 damage with rockets, 42 rocket hits out of 96 that were launched. 13 torpedoes brought me 70,000 damage and a little bit of flooding damage. And we also got some fire damage from the bombs and or rockets. I think it was a pretty well-rounded game, but the bombs, at least for me, were pretty ineffective. I think going forward, torpedoes and rockets are going to be what I'm using on this ship the majority of the time, and maybe use the bombs more for spotting. Picked up some decent XP using some signals and such. And that's it. That's all I have to say about this particular game. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope maybe you learned something, especially if you're not a CV player. If you are a CV player and you have some tips or tricks or anything that you think that where I really seriously dropped the ball or did something insanely stupid, I'd love to know how to play better. So regardless, if you enjoyed this, I hope you'll like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.